With Ti. People in
Okay.
the room are saying we got to start with Ti.
Okay.
All right, so Ti goes on a live yesterday and says that nobody is messing with him when it comes to making his music. He also kind of alluded to the fact that he's going to be on, he's not really concentrated on music like that. And you know what? I give Ti the credit. He's put in work enough where he could say that he's not going hard on music right now. I think you and I have expressed on this show how great of a catalog we feel like Ti has amassed over his career in hip hop. But the names that he mentioned is what kind of takes people aback when he said that you're gonna have to pull up Nas, Jay. I think he said Ye. I think he said Wayne. Pusha T was named as well, which I think is great. Um,
Thought that was dope.
I think that's dope too. But the thing that's funny to me in a way is the fact that people are laughing this off, and obviously it's kind of a generation that wasn't there, and maybe a generation that was slightly before there. But it kind of lets you know what people think of Ti. Now let me say this before I ask your opinion. He can't say all these things and seemingly duck Busta Rhymes in the verses. I felt like, and I said this on the show, I think even with the generational differences, Ti could actually have beaten Busta in a versus, or at least seem like he beat him to his generation. Let me put it that way. Because I think the problem with a versus with somebody like a Busta and a Ti is the fact that the people who grew up on Ti is going to think that he won. People that grew up on Busta is going to think that he won. That's why I don't want to see the Jay and Wayne one too, because I think it's going to be the same thing. Where it's like Jay's people, I mean, people who grew up in the 90s or in Jay's core era, they could be like, Jay won. People who grew up in the Wayne era is going to say Wayne won. But I do think that if Busta put the challenge out there and T.I. feels this strongly about his catalog, as he should have accepted that. Shout out to Xavier Logistics with the super chat of $10. He said research fund. Appreciate that, sir. We do a whole lot of research on this show.
Yeah. Shout out to Xavier. Xavier jumped in the comments of the previous show. I just replied to him. He's been showing us some love, so shout out to Xavier. I
Yeah,
replied back to your comment too, brother.
there it is. All right. Now, what's your opinion on this T.I. thing, man?
Um, always, I mean, I've stated this before. I think he's the most versatile MC to ever come out of the South, out of this region.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's validated. I think people who make tracks like start off making tracks like Dope Boy Fresh don't usually end up on Blurred Lines with Robin Thicke, and
Yeah,
that's what I mean about the versatility. Um, he's greater. I don't think maybe history was remembering him properly, but let me tell you why.
I was gonna ask why.
Mike, some of this is self-inflicted wounds because in the midst of his run where he was ascending to these heights, Mike, he got himself mired in legal troubles and lost big endorsement deals and lost a lot of that stature because, Mike, the material is there. The charisma is there. The personality and persona is there. The ability to transcend into other things like TV is there. So he has it all, Mike. So the only thing that really happened was the legal troubles happened. And it's not that they happened, Mike. They happened at the point that he was becoming a megastar. So it
Multiple
literally happened.
times.
Yeah, Mike, on two separate occasions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's what really hurts him is that he really doesn't get remembered properly because time got taken away from him at his two greatest heights, quite frankly.
Pivotal points because the first time it happened to him, this is where the whole Lil Flip thing started. And again, I don't want to get into the particulars because everybody has their individual stories, but I will say this, man. I was in radio in Atlanta at that time when all of this was happening, and Ti was running the city, at least in Atlanta, right? And it seems to me as a fan, from a fan's perspective, that Lil Flip was out here. I mean, people can say what they want about Flip, but Flip was hot. And it feels like an emerging T.I. who wasn't mainstream or crossover even at that point. He was still kind of local for Atlanta. He wanted that spot. And while Flip was out there riding high and had a big hit with Game Over and all of that, T.I. gets locked up. So a lot of the opportunities that T.I. was supposed to have, from what I'm understanding, like the cover of What was that? Was it XXL or Source or whoever was doing like that Next Generation cover at the time? Because, a lot of people have done that. He was supposed to have a certain spot. Flip got it, whatever, whatever. Or they saw each other. They both. Anyway, regardless, and look, the not Summer Jam, Birthday Bash in Atlanta, which is like Atlanta's version of Summer Jam.
Right.
Flip was there, and obviously, people know the infamous story where it's like T.I.'s coming out of jail. He was the surprise closer or whatever, and that's what he called Flip out. And I've always felt like, again, that was that first point where, if not for those legal troubles, T.I. was on a course of getting to a certain point, and like you said, that kind of put a halt to that. And then when you think about that halt, it never stopped him musically, right? He kept pushing and all of that, but these corporations and the other people that do business, they're willing to put their money into people that they know don't have those kind of restrictions and that won't possibly be in those type of situations. So I think, yeah, you're right. That's one of those things that handicapped him that first time. He got past that and he moved forward, elevated even more, and then it happened again. And that's the one you're talking about that was the most detrimental, because at this point he had artists, he had a roster. And, he had Meek Mill first.
Mike, he had an endorsement from Chevrolet because of the song Top Back. He was doing commercials with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I say this all the time too, man. When you look at Wayne and the artists that came under him, Drake and Nicki alone, he should be one of the more powerful moguls in this industry. But when we start looking at people that came up through T.I., from Travis Scott, Meek Mill, he had B.O.B., incredible talent, right? And he had Iggy Azalea on his roster too. Regardless of how you feel about her music, you got those 4 people on your roster. I mean, he should have had a powerhouse. You give Rick Ross those 4 artists and see what happens.
Mike, and let's not sleep on Dro, man. Dro is nice.
I love Dro. I think Dro is dope. I'm not even counting that because, I think Dro is like...
more for Atlanta.
And also, Dro has also expressed the fact that a lot of his shortcomings was just because of certain work that he didn't put in. So I think him, you know what I mean? Like, that is what it is. I think, Dro's ready to go whenever Dro's ready to go. But as far as, like, Iggy Azalea, Travis, Meek, and B.O.B., the industry was behind these people.
Yeah, well, hey, Mike, but even when you say that, Mike, I remember when B.O.B. was performing at the Hole in the Wall spots locally around here, and I know you do too.
Yeah.
I remember when he was the headliner of the local spots around here. Yeah.
Well, who made Bruno Mars famous first? When was Bruno Mars's first big look? It's B.O.B. B.O.B. made some very crossover records, not to mention the song with Old Girl from Perrymore.
Mike, remember the record that got him on? It was like this really funky, like weed smokers anthem that he had locally that was out.
Yeah.
I forget the name. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. But yeah, not to go off on a tangent or anything, but that just lets you know where T.I.'s place was in this game. And like you said, he's very versatile. And he honestly had the game in his hands. At one point, it was T.I. Wayne. We talked T.I. Wayne or whatever. And in my personal opinion, I think that on a solo level, I think that T.I. had the better catalog. Now, if you count everything that Wayne's been involved in, it's just so much stuff. But on a quality level, we talk about that run from trap music to Urban Legend to King. You look at Paper Trail. I'm not a huge fan of I'm Serious, but a lot of people love that record. So if you want to throw that in there too, it's like T.I. has a very, very good catalog. Not to mention, one of my favorite Gangsta Grills, Down with the King. Honestly, he made Gangsta Grills happen. He doesn't get credit for that either.
I was actually about to say, Mike, I didn't even know what Gangsta Grills was before Tip.
And honestly, I know a lot of people are hip to Gangsta Grills because of the Wayne dedication, or maybe the Jeezy, whatever. But he hooked Wayne and Drama up for that.
I
purpose.
mean, so Mike, so
So
let's
his
go.
place in the game, he has a right to feel the way he's feeling. It's
Right.
just the problem that I'm not understanding why. Well, I guess I kind of understand, but why do you think more so than just the legal troubles, why the public doesn't recognize these things?
I don't know, Mike, because it can't be for quality of music. Let's go to I'm Serious. I'm Serious is probably his fifth or sixth best album. When you have a fifth or sixth best album like that, you're usually pretty iconic. You know, like think about what I'm saying. I'm Serious is that on its best day to me, his fifth best album.
I'm gonna
On
be
its
honest, man. I've never liked I'm Serious, and I mean, I've been in so many arguments with people in the city for that. I got a quick story. Quick story, right? You know, I went to Pebblebrook High School, West Side, whatever, and my senior year, one of
like
my classmates,
I'm about to
huh?
say, didn't you go to school with some of PSC?
I did. I
Yeah.
went to school with Ti's god sister though. And anyway, long story short, we were over at her house one time, and her mom gave us that Ti snippet CD for like I'm Serious. They used to do snippet CDs back then for like people who were on majors. He was on Arista. DJ Mars was like the host on the snippet CD. Shout out to DJ Mars, good dude. And so it actually starts off with Dope Boys in the Trap, funny enough. Either that or Still Ain't Forgave Myself. But they give you like snippets of each song. The last song was the song I'm Serious. And it was like the whole song or whatever. But yeah, her mom was like, he about to blow up, yada yada. I didn't like the joint, man. I mean, I liked a couple of songs on it, but again, I was a hard ass at that point. I was on my Black Star shit, so it was like, I was like, he could rap, but I think what was throwing me off too was the having a song featuring God, Jesus, and Jay Z or whatever, produced by God featuring Jay Z.
God
Yeah.
featuring Jay Z.
Yeah. I was like, he cool, he nice, and then the whole King of the South thing threw me off too as a big Outkast fan. But when he flipped his whole style and did trap music, I think that was that sophomore effort where he was becoming the artist. And we're about to talk about another person's sophomore effort too, and other sophomore efforts. But I think that's when he became the artist that he became, and it was undeniable when trap music hit. I think I heard the song "In the A," which ain't on none of his mainstream albums or studio albums, I guess you would say. It's on a mixtape, but I remember hearing that on the radio, and I was like, "Yo, this is the first Ti song I really, really like." And he changed his whole style up. And I always tell people who argue me down about I'm Serious, he doesn't perform any of those songs at any of his shows. And he hasn't since he dropped trap music.
Well, Mike, most of that is because, I mean, pretty much from trap music, I mean, to the legal troubles he didn't miss. I'm Serious is how about this, Mike? You see him flash on that record at times where it's like where you maybe don't like the King of the South comments or the God featuring Jay-Z comments, but you can hear some traces of why that confidence is validated.
Oh yeah, no, I love the confidence. I
And then,
love the
but Mike,
confidence.
then he went out and validated it.
He
Like
did.
right after that album. Like
So
boom, 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 boom,
admirable.
boom.
He didn't validate it in the moment, but eventually he did, and
I
that's
mean,
where the
Mike,
utmost respect.
not in the moment, Mike, but immediately after. Like he
Yeah.
immediately went back in and captured the moment and the feeling and didn't let it go till he got into legal trouble. So Mike, when he's talking the way that he's talking, like he's some sort of icon and some sort of legend, like that's
He
because
is.
he is.
He is. The most impressive thing, and I'm not shitting on I'm Serious. I'm just saying, like, for me, maybe because I saw the artist that he actually became, it wasn't him. And the fact that he was able to flip his style so drastically from I'm Serious, and the fact that he made an album that people actually liked too, and then flipped it and then made trap music, slowed his flow down. Because, I'm Serious, like, his flow was all over the place.
Yeah, he's all over
He
the place.
was concise on trap music, and he became the T.I. that is. And I think that if we talk about, again, I bring up a live show, he's doing a set list, people wouldn't even recognize the MC that he was on I'm Serious. That's just like if Common went out there and tried to do something from Can I Borrow a Dollar. People don't recognize that MC. And that's amazing for somebody to be able to do that. And I gotta give kudos to that. And I'm just trying to, because you hear people say Luda would beat him, and I do think Luda and T.I. would be a great matchup in the Versuz.
I don't.
You don't? Why not?
What T.I. over Luda? I mean, you think people think Luda would beat T.I.?
Well, I mean, I hear people saying that, like, you know, they're saying that T.I. can't even get with Luda, and we're gonna get to that other part of what he said too. He said something about, you know, an MC's never been on a record with him and blown him out on a record.
Now let's address that part, because you want to know what? I found that to be fascinating. Like, and here's what I mean about he's a legend and he's an icon. He's been gotten, but really only one time that I can recall for an MC of his stature. I found that to be staggering. But I also have a question mark by one that I know other people would argue about too, Mike. But I think he's only been gotten on record maybe 3 times at the most. Only one time for certain that I got written down right here.
You're probably going to say Andre 3000's to certain.
Huh?
Andre 3000's to certain for you?
No. I'm saying, like, I can't think of any other. What do you mean? Say that again.
I'm sorry. You said he's been gotten one time on a record for certain. Is that the Andre 3000 Sorry song?
Oh, I mean, not even necessarily that for me. You think he got him like that on that song? That was one of the question marks.
Yeah. I mean, again, I didn't love the song anyway, but I mean, yeah, Drake has
I didn't
the better
really
verse.
love the song.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of songs written down, Mike, and here's the record that I have that I know he got on.
What's that?
And he got twice, Mike, and he got twice by guys that are greater than him. And there aren't too many guys greater than Mike. Grand finale on Lil Jon's album, Mike, Nas and Ice Cube got him.
Okay.
Nas and Ice Cube got him on Grand Finale.
No shame in that.
Look, there is no shame in that, man.
Yeah.
Mike, I just said Nas and Ice Cube, so that's top 10. You just lost it. You know what I mean? You just got faded by two of the 10 greatest.
Hold on, I want to address something real quick. People say stuff in the chat. This one popped up to me. Jay Short says T.I. can't carry a song without a feature. Have you heard What You Know? Have you heard You Don't Know Me? Have you heard 24s? And you
Mike,
know,
have you heard trap music? Mike, have you heard trap music?
Yeah, it's really nobody on there. Like, what are we talking about here?
There's nobody on trap music, really, Mike.
There's nobody on there. Like, I mean, you talking about hooks? Because he even does that. I mean, you got Jazzy Faye or whoever on Let's Get Away, maybe. But no, I mean, again, I think that his shortcomings definitely aren't those things. I think that his shortcomings might be if people are punchline MC fans. He's not a punchline guy, but I like that about him. And it's probably why I didn't really love Paper Trail that much, because he was trying to do some of that because Wayne was hot at the time. But anyway, let me go back and to what you were saying, though. What's the other song?
Well, I have question marks by a few songs. You already named one of them, Mike. Here are the other 2 songs that I have, and I don't think that he got faded on either one of these songs, Mike. I told you I thought he had the best verse on Swagger Like Us. But if you told me one of the other guys had a better verse because that was your guy, I wouldn't argue with you. I think
he had the best verse on Swagger Like Us, because I think he tried the most. I mean, it was one of those big crit, 6 Train moments.
Well, Mike, I mean, no, Mike, but that's Jay towards the end of his prime, and that's Ye and Wayne in their prime. So that's monumental achievement type stuff. Like, that stuff that legends do, not like average MCs do, but that like legendary MCs do, Mike. The other one I have, Mike, and this is a personal favorite of you and mine, Mike, Twist On Look at the Grills is right there with him.
Nah. You know what? Again, man, this is what I will give. This is what I give T.I. props on. This is what I give T.I. props on. He notices the moment. He'll get on the song, and he like that's. And for y'all out there who might not have heard this song because it didn't get a lot of pub, but the song, but Big Boy's song in the A with Luda and T.I., he notices the moment. The song, even Tambourine on Big Boy's record, he notices the moment.
Mike, I didn't bring those records up because he won.
Again, look at the grill. He went crazy. Even if you talk about song with 8Ball and MJG on trap music, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It'll come to me in a minute because
Mike,
look at the grills in my head. But he went
I'm about to say, Mike, look at the grills in my head. That might be my favorite T.I. verse, Mike.
one of them, front back. He knows the moment. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
I
I
think
forgot
that's
that
the
part.
utmost respect when you know you got certain people on the record and you do your thing. You
Yeah,
know,
no, no,
and
no.
for the people who used to
No,
watch
that's what I
Uncut
mean,
back
Mike.
in the day, we used to love that Lax and Priestess. He got on a. You remember Lax and Priestess? These guys from Alabama. Forgive me, I don't know their name off the top, but they were from. It wasn't Montgomery. I think they were from Huntsville. They were somewhere in Alabama. It might have been Birmingham. I'm naming all the cities in Alabama. Anyway, they had an uncut video. T.I. was bubbling. He came through and laced them on Lax and Priestess. That verse was crazy.
No, Mike, I don't think you understand. It's just like so many great MCs have been faded. You know what I mean? Like Ye has faded Jay on records a few times on one album. You get what I'm saying? I was going through this man's career and wasn't catching him get faded. Ross faded Nas on Accident Murders. Like murdered him
Uh-oh,
on
don't say
Accident
stuff
Murders.
like that. Bezel is the song that I'm thinking about.
Mike, what? Have you heard Accident Murders? Ross killed that verse, Mike.
Yeah. I need to go back and listen to it again.
You need to listen to that.
But
Ross
yeah,
missed on that. He's just like, I was like, Ross on fire. He don't want no parts of that.
and I know you
So
don't really love that Game album that I love so much, Blood Moon. But that
well,
song really, T.I. went nuts on there.
I don't love that record, but I get what you're saying. He did go nuts
He
on there,
went
but
nuts.
I just
Game
don't love.
went nuts on there too.
I don't love the songs on there. I just don't. But I hear you though.
But
Like,
yeah, again, he notices the moment, and you could tell that as an MC, he's competitive. There's one guy that I think might have outdid him on the track, but this guy's an anomaly, and it's like I don't think that it's not even about skill. Sometimes, like his presence could just get you on the track, and I think it's 2 Chainz when he got on that Travis Scott song, Upper Echelon. But see, 2 Chainz is just a
I have to hear it.
showstopper like that, man. Like it's
He can do that to a lot of
yeah,
people.
he could do that to he. Listen, I'm gonna keep it real. He could do that to Jay or maybe Nas. It won't even be about skill. It'll
Yeah.
just be about just catchy
He's a scene stealer.
punchlines. And he is.
Stealer, Mike.
Yeah. So
He's a
yeah,
scene
if somebody said 2 Chainz got him on there or whatever, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, listen, people talk about Luda and his verse on Stomp, and when he came at Ti, I still think Ti has the better verse. That's just my opinion. I
And he
mean,
didn't have the upper hand. He didn't have the upper hand,
he
and he still
didn't.
came out with the better verse.
He got the best line on the whole song. People can say whatever they want. That me getting beat down, that's ludicrous. That shit was crazy. Nigga, all you getting Rodney Dangerfield. No respect. I'm a vet. You could bet that. I caught some cases, but that's just a minor setback. Man, that flow, man, is nuts.
No.
Yeah.
That was a moment for
Real
him too.
niggas
Mike,
see the difference
Mike,
between you and this. Me getting beat down, that's ludicrous. See, somebody
Mike,
just mentioned Stomp. Nah, man.
you're gonna be
T.I.'s
hard
verse is better.
pressed to find an MC of his caliber that seizes moments like he does.
Mhm.
So that's why I keep saying no. When he's talking, people should listen. You talking to somebody that ain't been faded on wax too often, has got classics under his belt, has got a nice upper echelon catalog. His rhyme next to literally all the greats that are mostly like living and been in his stratosphere around at the time. Like there aren't too many things that you can say about him. And so when he's speaking, like it needs to be taken with more validity and seriousness than it is. And I hate to say this, Mike, it's almost like, how about this? What makes him great as an MC is also starting to maybe be a detraction as a personality and maybe the seriousness, because I mean, T.I.'s an intelligent dude and has a wonderful vocabulary.
Mhm.
But because of how he enunciates his words, people look at it in a joking manner because he doesn't mind joking about it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But he's a highly articulate dude, and sometimes I think some of this isn't being taken seriously because of some of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I would piggyback on that. I think that social media has given
We don't
people a
talk
lot
about
more
that.
access to a person like him, and I think he has put himself out there so much to a point where people have developed their own opinions about the person, and it has affected the music. I
Right.
think that's more so what it is because again, With Wayne, we don't get none of that. Wayne don't give you any access to his inside world like that. So all you have is the music. It's one of those things like I remember when Janelle Monáe first came out. I'm gonna bring her up again, but she was, she used to wear that uniform and all that stuff. And she said that she did that. She had a whole bunch of reasons for it, but I thought the one that was the most that brought forth the best point. She wanted people to focus on the music and not be distracted by anything else. So my image and all that stuff is just uniform. It's what it is. Focus on the music.
Like.
Huh?
It's very Rhythm Nation like.
It is. It's like she's like a janitor has their uniform. This is my uniform. I want people to focus on the music and not what I got on today or what I'm saying or whatever. And I think that T.I. has given us so much other stuff outside of his music to focus on, and it's overshadowed what he's done in his career. And that's unfortunate because I will give him credit too. And I probably have said this on the show or offline. He changed the whole Atlanta dynamic when he came out with trap music. People were yelling and screaming on stage. You go to these open mics, people were yelling like, Pastor Troy or Lil Jon, whatever. He made upcoming rappers in Atlanta at the time slow their flow down and start rapping and actually start saying words outside of chants. He changed the whole climate, and he did it at a time where it wasn't really cool to do that. That's why you heard him on Never Scared. He had to get on these records and show people how to be able to actually rap on these records. And Bun B was doing that at the time too, but that's from a whole different sphere, and we already knew Bun B's history.
Right. So when you say all those things, you made a very astute observation. Well, because he's allowed us into his life and the different aspects of his life so much, Mike, we're conveniently forgetting that it's like, no, this dude made trap music and Paper Trail and Urban Legend and King and that Gangsta Grills mixtape and blazed countless verses with countless other people, did look at the grills, like did grand finale. So it's like some of that is getting lost. So I believe we're here to serve reminders for stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, reality television does it. Unfortunately, I understand why he had to do the reality television show. I think it was a great idea. I love the sentiment behind it, But again, and we don't know these things. We're just looking at this from a fan's perspective, but it alludes back to those legal troubles you were talking about, right? How do I clean up my image? Let's show me in my family. You know what I'm saying? And it worked, but the catch-22 to that is you're bringing everybody into your life, and there's no more mystery to you as an artist because people see you on TV every week and feel like they know you for something else.
Well, no, Mike. Let's get into what the legal troubles really did. It kept him from bossing up all the way in a manner so that at a latter stage of his career, he wouldn't have to do like a reality TV show to clean up his image or to make money. So when you're seeing him on TV now, that's what I'm talking about. His career got hurt because, Mike, he was moving in a manner where that TV show wasn't going to happen because his endorsements and his branding were going to be so big that he wasn't even going to be looking at the TV money.
Mike, great 88.
And he had an endorsement deal with Chevrolet, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, he was a big...
Our federal government bails out a company like that when it's failing. That's like Infinite Break.